How concerned are you with the run game? Under 50 yards rushing and right around 2 yards of carry, which if it doesn't get better, it's going to be a long year.
It's alarming. I don't think there's any way to get around that. You saw the Cincinnati Bengals in the preseason. They couldn't stop anybody. Now, the preseason may not be necessarily a great indicator of what the regular season is going to bring, but you still had to feel like this was a matchup in which you wanted to be able to run the ball, and they struggled. There were some issues in terms of getting push up front. There were a few situations where the running lanes were missed. So those things are concerning, and you hope that the biggest improvement typically comes from week 1 to week 2, and run blocking and running the ball is a different animal in the regular season than practice or preseason or anything like that. So you'd like to believe that there's going to be improvement in that. Now, having said that, I am sort of relieved at the fact that Kevin Stefanski in particular was able to find workarounds. And those workarounds were in the form of Dylan Sampson catching passes out of the backfield and some of the things they did with Harold Fannin as a little underneath receiver. That is a way to help the situation, but it's only going to carry you so far. At some point, you have to be able to get yards you need on the ground in some of these games. But at least for this week, it didn't stop them from winning the game.
What did you think of Jerome Ford? I have an opinion. I want to hear yours before I tell you what I thought when I looked at that.
Well, he certainly didn't paint himself in glory in this one. I mean, look, there were not a lot of places for him to run, but it just felt like he was constantly falling over as soon as somebody touched him. And, given what the Browns have, and you just compare that to what you saw from a rookie who's 20, that is not a great look for Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford in the past has been a player who's been a feast or famine type guy. At times he's been able to hit the home runs, but too often has been sort of wildly inconsistent and had issues where he couldn't see or didn't trust his strength or some of these other things. I thought this was a really poor performance, and certainly everybody's sitting there going, when can we get Quinshon Judkins on the field? Because that's the guy you've been waiting for. They've got him signed, and now you watch Jerome Ford sort of just not play well at all. And now you're sitting there going, when can we get this other guy on the field and get him going?
Yeah, I thought he looked tentative. There wasn't a lot of put your foot in the dirt and get upfield. It was more like, well, I don't see anything, and the thing that really stood out, Sampson was running under. I think it was Batonio blocking somebody because he turned upfield quickly, whereas Ford just kept looking to get outside, and it's like, get upfield and get us 3 yards. And then if you break a tackle, then it's 10 or 12.
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, I just look at it as a credit to Dylan Sampson and what he's able to do, and just the first game of his career, he was 1 reception short of like Eric Metcalf's franchise record for catches for a running back. Was able to make guys miss. There are numerous plays where it seemed like he was in a situation where he might get stopped and was able to find yardage. It wasn't great as a runner either in terms of handing him the ball, but he gives you options and finds answers. And this is what I sort of expected from him. They moved him all over the formation. They found different ways to limit the amount of guys he had to beat. And he really paid it off and just gave this offense a jolt, which, again, a huge sigh of relief from that standpoint, but only sort of shows just by contrast how ineffective Ford was, at least in this one.